All right. Admit all. Admit all. Okay, admit all. Hi, everyone. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear okay? Let's make sure everyone can hear okay before we get started. Super, super. Welcome and thank you for coming today. Welcome to Zenful Conversations. If you can believe it, we're on our Thanksgiving episode. My gosh, I can't even believe we're saying that.
I know.
For information on future guest speakers and our other Zoom offerings, please visit zenfulconversations.com. My name is Zen Brown. I'm your host, and we're here today with our guest speakers, celebrity chef JUDI and vegan chef Lori RODGERS. Ladies, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much
for having us. It is hard to believe that Thanksgiving is knocking on the door. All the holidays are here. How did that happen?
Don't know.
I can't get over it. I really can't
What
either
happened to
myself.
October?
The whole year.
I know.
I know.
Very true.
Let me give you a little bit of information about Chef JUDI and vegan chef Lori RODGERS. Chef JUDI is a graduate of Johnson & Wales. She has managed and owned restaurants in the Northeast and was the founder of a successful dessert company. JUDI had a popular TV cooking career for 20 years. She is the executive editor of My Cooking magazine, where she shares recipes and cooking tips. Her personal passions are culinary travel to exotic places and holiday cooking in her home for huge gatherings of friends and relatives. Her guilty pleasure, Bruce Springsteen concerts. I follow him around the country and have for years, she admits, and in every city where Bruce sings, she does check out the new restaurants and talk to the up-and-coming chefs. She wants all the food news she can get. JUDI is also the author of the popular cookbook, Reflections and Recipes of Chef JUDI. I just saw Bruce Springsteen on TV. He looked rather well because he was
looking good. Yeah, he's added more dates, so he's coming back. Thank goodness.
That's good. And about Lori RODGERS. Lori is an expert in her field. Lori won the vegan mac and cheese cook-off again this year, making it 2 years in a row. I know those cook-off things are serious business.
Yeah.
Vegan friendly cooking, which is Lori's business, specializes in vegan and plant-based cooking. Lori says what you choose to eat and not to eat is a very personal choice. Anyone who is interested in including more plant-based meals into their diet, she can't wait to show you how to prepare delicious, healthy meals in a snap that you and your friends and family will rave about. Lori has a cooking school. Do you do any of those online, Lori?
I do. I wrote a course. It's titled Intro to Vegan Cooking, and it's 5 lessons. So I start out showing you how to set up your pantry in your kitchen, very simply. Most of the things you probably already have. And then I do breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert, 2 recipes for each lesson. And it just walks you through. And then there's all the supporting documents you can print out, recipes and ingredient lists, shopping lists, all that. So
great. Thank you. Well, we're thrilled to have you both here today with us. And thank you again for coming. Information on how to connect with these ladies directly will be shared at the end of this conversation, as well as in the follow-up email tomorrow when we send out the replay link to everybody. Let me just see if anybody has any questions right away before we get started. Anybody have anything they're itching to say or ask? All righty. Do either of you ladies want to start off, or do you want me to ask a question first?
You can ask a question first. I have my notes right here and in my my themes of what we're going to talk about this year. So
Well, I have a few questions that were submitted by people that weren't able to make it, such as like what they can do with the stuff that comes inside the bag inside the turkey and things like that. But if you have some kind of presentation, we can wait for this to come at the end.
no, I'm happy to answer the question now, and then we'll talk about
Okay.
what's trending this year, because there's a lot of new cool
Yeah.
trends for side dishes and things like that. When you take out the liver and the turkey neck and things like that, you can use the giblets. You can roast them or saute them and chop them very fine and use them in the gravy if you would like. Personally, I usually just put them in the oven and roast them and give my dog a treat. So that's how I do it. But you know, it's one thing you do want to remember when you're doing your turkey is to make sure you get that out as soon as you unwrap your turkey before you brine or whatever. Don't roast your turkey with that inside. But it does make for nice gravy if you dice it up really well once it's roasted.
Gotcha. Okay, wonderful. Let me just ask Lori one. How do you make gluten-free gravy? Was another question.
Oh, well, you simply use gluten-free flour instead of traditional flour and arrowroot instead of cornstarch if you need a thickener. And this is my favorite brand of gluten-free flour. And when I get lucky, I can find it at Walmart. It's called Extra White Gold, which is kind of an unusual name, but that's what they call it. But it's gluten-free and vegan flour, and I bake with this. I use it making gravies, casserole dishes, everything. It's really wonderful. It's just a 1-for-1 substitution. Nothing
that's
fancy.
great. Makes
Yeah.
it
Okay,
easier.
wonderful. Yeah, I appreciate the names of the items you choose to use, because there's a lot of vegan things out there that don't taste so well. So this really
That's really
lets
the
us
key.
know.
It's really the key to know. I'm just working on a list of my favorite holiday substitutions, the products. So that'll be up on my website early next week.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, Judy, go ahead, please take it away.
So I'm kind of excited because this year there's a lot of new flavor influences, but I have to mention this because Lori's so on point that vegan foods is one of the most popular trends of not being a vegan or a vegetarian, but serving vegan and vegetarian dishes. And it was really interesting to read about this, that it used to be like, oh my God, my friend's coming in, she's vegetarian. I got to make sure I have separate gravy, or she's going to bring what she needs. And now it's not that at all. It's introducing people to new things. That's why Lori's recipes are so good. And her Facebook post, is it Tuesdays, Lori, that you do the
Yep,
on Tuesdays,
Tuesday,
Lori posts some food, some ingredient finds that are really good, like a different type of cream cheese, a vegan cream cheese or something like that. And that really supports what they're saying out there, that there's so many great ingredients for vegan cooking now that you should give it a try. Make one dish and give it a try. This year, they're promoting edible centerpieces. Now, charcuterie, that's so much meat and so filling. You want to save those charcuterie styles for more like Christmas time and New Year's, things like that, because that's an awful lot of food. But when they say like edible centerpieces, it can mean like hummus and some fruits. And depending on where you live, I mean, we live in Florida, but Lori doesn't live in Florida anymore. So she's going to get different items that we might want to put out, some papaya, and with papaya with a little chili powder on it. So you get that little bit of kick, and it makes it unique, and have that as a platter. So when you're first sitting down, people can just pick at that, which is really nice, because in the past we've all tend to overdo it with stuffed mushrooms and baked brie and all these things before that you're almost full before the whole meal comes. So they're saying kind of lighten it up. And that way, when you do a platter of something like that, of, you know, maybe some Greek appetizers that are nice and light, and that everybody can start out well, but it's also lower on the table. So you get to see everybody in case, you know, instead of having these big arrangements. One of the big trends this year is that they say more people will buy their turkey already made. They'll get like a deep fried turkey, or they'll get the roasted turkey already made from whatever favorite grocery store they have, or some restaurants do, like, especially smoked turkeys are really popular. And that gives you more time and more oven space to be creative. So that's another trend that's going to be happening. I love this trend. I never would have thought of it. Spaghetti squash is one of the top vegetables that they're bringing in for Thanksgiving this year. And I eat spaghetti squash like spaghetti, you know, I'll put bolognese sauce on it. So I didn't really think about it, that it would go with Thanksgiving, but with Greek seasonings and a lemon yogurt drizzle, that would be like a really good choice. And it goes really well with the light meat of turkey. It's a nice little blend. And, you know, it's just something different that changes it up. So those are some of the things. Carrots. I don't know if you've noticed, but so many bistros that are opening up have like 3 different carrot dishes on their menu. Roasted carrots are huge. And that's another thing. And you can buy the small ones that still have the stems on. They look so pretty, and that they're so easy to do. You know, you just wash them off, pat them, put a little olive oil on it, and then whatever seasonings that you really like to put on. And any roasted vegetables, I usually use like fresh thyme sprigs and maybe some rosemary, but fresh carrots, maybe a little drizzle with balsamic vinegar is really another trend. So if you're thinking about your holiday table, and it used to have like the, you know, well, I can remember when my mother made the green bean casserole, and now that's changed, where now it's fresh green beans that are quickly blanched and served with goat cheese and a balsamic drizzle. Again, that makes for a lighter, really flavorful dish. And you get that, you know, you get the crunch of the green beans, and you get those different flavors in. So I usually do put it out as a buffet, but it looks so beautiful, all these different vegetable dishes. So that's a really different thought. The trend, although I'm married to an Irishman, so I couldn't give up putting out mashed potatoes, but the big trend is people are going for roasted potatoes in the last year or so, and they're trying to recommend that more. So that's always the thought, that if you don't want to have to peel those potatoes, unless you're doing the red potatoes, and go through all, you know, the mashed potato ingredients, that simply roasting potatoes is going to be a nice accompaniment. And you can put it around if you have the turkey on the platter, you can put them all around there, so the juices of the turkey drip down and get on top of that. So I have more recipes and tips to share, but I want to get to Lori, because she has, I know you always have some great ideas, and you have that fabulous pie looking at me. Oh,
well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
you.
I need to ask the question there too, though. So like, I think I love the idea of bringing a fresh green bean dish to the table, because yeah, that thing's been used and abused forever, and it goes back a long time. But I can also see a lot of resistance in the family if you try to get away with bringing something different, you know.
That is an excellent point. And 20 years ago, I would have been that person that would have been, Mom, you can't change that. We always have this, and this. Don't change everything. It's the number one thing to do, is don't change everything. But pick like 3 things, like, okay, most of us all love stuffing. Keep the stuffing. Maybe change some of the ingredients that are going in the stuffing. If you think about it, maybe try something like that, but keep at least 3 things that are synonymous with your holiday meal, and then go for the other
Okay,
for the
that's
other ones.
fun.
That's the way to do it.
That's fun because these
Yeah.
are fun twists that you were talking about. I love little baby carrots too. One more thing, Judy, before we
Mhm.
pass it off.
Mhm.
We got to ask how you cook your turkey.
Okay, I brine my turkey 48 hours in advance, which means you're going to take the turkey out of the bag, rinse it really well, pat it dry. Then it sounds funny, you're going to pat it dry. It's going to go, and you're going to take a huge pot of water with a lot of kosher salt. And I usually put in a cinnamon stick and some fresh herbs. And another trend now is, it started about a year or so ago, is soy sauce. So add about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, and I throw in some cider, and when it comes to a boil, cool it down, put it to the side of your stove. When it starts to cool down, add ice. You've got to get that really cold, because you're going to put your turkey in a container that's big enough to immerse the turkey and get it in your fridge. So sometimes those bags that you cook in are big enough. If you put a huge pan underneath, like one of those throwaway deep pans, and you can brine your turkey that way and turn it over after 24 hours and let it get the other side. When you take it out of the brine, which is going to be the morning of the day that you're going to cook it, assuming that you're going to serve at like 5 in the afternoon, get it out of the brine, rinse it off really well, because you have all that salt that went in there and some soy sauce. Rinse it off really well, pat it really dry, put it back in the refrigerator uncovered, totally dry, back in the refrigerator for a minimum of 4 hours. It could stay in the fridge 24 hours like that. That's going to help the skin crisp up. Even though you've had it in a brine, in that wet brine, it's going to crisp up. Now the brine is going to break down all the tissue of the turkey, and it's going to make it so juicy, and that will really make a difference. So then you're going to roast it. Traditionally, I season the outside with butter, Irish butter, garlic salt, paprika, fresh thyme. I fill the inside with leeks and lemons and oranges and seasoning. Don't stuff the inside too full, because then it will throw off your cooking. You want to have enough space so the heat circulates. I roast my turkey upside down for at least a half an hour, depending on how big it is. All the juices go into the breast. They drip down inside into the breast, and it's messy, but then you take it out, flip it upside down, pat a little more seasoning on it and butter, and then let it go in the oven until it's going to be 160 to 165. I take it out about 5 degrees early, because it's going to go up to temperature once you take it out. Don't let it hit the exact temperature, because it keeps cooking once you take it out of the oven. And that's how I prep and do my turkey.
Nice and juicy. Nice and juicy. And just one more quick one.
Sure.
I can wait. I can come back to that one, actually.
Okay.
I can come back to that one. Yeah, Lori, please let us
All
in on it.
right. Okay. Well, I have been working my way through my mom's recipe box and taking all my favorite recipes from my childhood and veganizing them. I've done her meatloaf. I was so thrilled when I did that. I mean, my house smelled like my mom's meatloaf for the first time in, 7 or 8 years. It was really great. So for a main dish for Thanksgiving, for a vegan Thanksgiving main dish, sometimes I buy the roasts that you can find, the vegan roasts, like at Whole Foods, that are already frozen and stuffed, and they're not bad. I've done the vegan meatloaf. My mom's meatloaf recipes on my website. I've made lentil loaf. I'm going to try something new this year. I'm going to make a seitan turkey, and that's Seitan. And of all the things that I've made vegan over the last 7 or 8 years, I've never made seitan. I was a little intimidated, but I'm like, it's not that hard. You use vital wheat gluten, which is basically a really dense flour, and you mix it with water and some soy sauce, or if you're going gluten, well, you can't do that gluten-free. So seitan, you can't make that gluten-free. So soy sauce, because if you want a gluten-free alternative to soy sauce, I was going to suggest tamari or coconut
Right.
aminos. And I'll put a gluten-free substitute list up there with my list of favorite holiday vegan products that you can just simply swap one for one: vegan butter, vegan flour. Anyway, so to make my turkey loaf, or I don't know if I'm going to shape it like a turkey. I don't know. I'm still creating. But you mix together and you knead it kind of like bread, and you shape it into the shape that you want, and then you steam it. You put it in a steamer basket and you put it over hot water and you let it steam, and you turn it over after a little while. And I've been looking at a lot of different recipes, so I will let you know how it turns out. I'll
Yeah,
put
please do.
photos on Facebook and see how it turns out. And as far as my side dishes go, I'm a traditionalist. I'm not a fan of the green bean casserole, never have been. So I love green beans almondine, but I love what Judy was talking about with the balsamic glaze drizzle. And instead of goat cheese, there probably is vegan goat cheese, but there's a vegan feta that I really like that might work with that. And maybe some slivered almonds, just give it, I like crunchy foods. I'm from the South, so we make cornbread dressing every year, and that's been really easy to make vegan. I just use a vegetable broth instead of a chicken broth, and it's got celery and onions, and I make a cornbread that you wouldn't want to eat by yourself. It's by itself. It's my grandma's recipe. And you toast like 2 loaves of bread. It makes this huge thing, so I've cut it down. And I always make my mom's sweet potato casserole. My sweet potato tip, if you are going to do anything with sweet potatoes, my number one choice in sweet potatoes are the red garnets. And I don't think I've seen them anything but organic, but I always try to get organic if it's affordable. But they have the best flavor because not everybody likes sweet potatoes. And then there's this whole, Judy, I'm sure, can explain to us the difference between a yam and a sweet potato. I just like my red garnets. So I just do my mom's.
Sounds like a great choice. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try the red
Oh, they're
garnet.
so good. I can find them at Fresh Market and at Whole Foods. And oftentimes they're on sale. And those are the only 2 places I've been able to find them. I'm up in Raleigh, North Carolina now. Maybe at a farmer's market or something, but yeah, red garnets, they're so good. And the sweet potato souffle is really simple, and we put marshmallows on top, but they sell vegan marshmallows. Dandy's is the brand. It's really good. And then of course we got to have pumpkin pie, and so I baked a pumpkin pie. I baked it today, and this is a vegan pumpkin pie. I used canned pumpkin. I used coconut cream and sugar. I used organic cane sugar because sugar is not vegan unless it's organic. And the reason is that non-organic sugar is whitened with bone char. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
If you're making
Yeah, let's
something
let that one
organic,
go.
yeah, be sure to use. I was like, wow, really? Okay. So be sure to use organic sugar, and you might want to just do that anyway. And then I made it pretty with I made some extra crust, and I did some little cutouts. These are just sitting on top, little pumpkins. And then I can't tell these, if you can tell what these are, but these are little squirrels. Cute. Yeah. And then there's a couple of options for whipped cream. I love this product. This is Country Crock's plant-based cream, and it is the easiest thing in the world to do. I've only found it refrigerated, but I guess it doesn't always have to be refrigerated. So you want it to be cold before you whip it. And I just pour it in I chill my bowl of my stand mixer, and I chill my whisk attachment before I mix it up. But I just put it in the mixer, and you add a little bit of just like a 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar, and I'll sift that in if it's lumpy, and of course that's organic powdered sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. And within 5 or 6 minutes, you have delicious whipped cream. It's wonderful. And if you don't have time to do that, even it's so easy, there are now so many options
Oh, wow.
of plant-based. Yeah, look at this, Ready Whip, non-dairy coconut milk, and it's gluten-free. Yay! So the trick with these, and this has been sitting out for a few minutes, I think it's still going to be fine, but you got to keep them cold. You want to shake them up really well, and then you have to hold it upside down.
Okay.
And yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's just like, and it tastes really good. So, you know, you can
Oh.
make some vegan options and you don't even have to tell people that it's vegan because, you know, hey, see,
That looks
pretty
Wow.
great.
sprinkles on there. Yeah. So this pie
So,
is going to go in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'm going to slice it.
oh.
The crust is vegan. I can make the crust gluten-free very easily by just using this extra white gold flour instead of all-purpose. Oh, and I wanted to show off this dish just because I
That makes
know
a
this
great
was my
gift.
Christmas gift last year from my youngest son, Jason. Isn't that sweet?
Oh, that's
Oh, what does it say?
wonderful.
It says vegan
It's my
friendly.
friendly cooking. Yeah, it's got the
Oh,
name
how
of my
cool is
business on
that?
there. So yeah, it makes a really big pie. It's a really big dish.
I'm all
So
for
we're
big
gonna
pies.
share with the neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know
So
you made that today specifically for this conversation. I appreciate you doing that. I really wish we could taste it.
I know.
oh my gosh. And you know what?
It looks
The
good.
filling, you make the filling in the blender. You just put everything in the blender
Oh, that's
and turn
wonderful.
it on and pour it into your pie shell. I mean, it couldn't be easier, and you don't have to pre-bake the crust. I mean, it really is simple. The hardest thing for me was trying to make the crust look pretty, and you know,
It
it's
Yeah,
does.
thank
that is
you.
something. That's also a bit of resistance in a way. We think, some may think anyway, that it's too hard to learn a new way of making
Oh my
things, or,
gosh. Yeah,
you know,
it's
so
9
that
ingredients.
simplicity.
You put it in the blender, you turn it on, you pour it in, and you bake it for an hour. And
Love it.
refrigerated
Yeah.
overnight is best, and it'll set. Yeah. Yeah.
That looks really good. I
Thank
want to
you.
come back also to a question there. Do you have anything else you want to say there, Lori? Or I was going to ask questions.
I just have one more thing. The
Yeah.
latest thing that I've been doing that I really love is caramelizing onions.
Mm.
Caramelizing red onions. Yes. And I've been cooking for a friend who is vegan and gluten-free, and he's having some health problems. So people are bringing him meals. And he is an excellent cook. So he's been sharing things with me. And this is one of the pastas that he told me about. I can't pronounce the name of it, but I'll put a picture of it. But it's a brown rice pasta. And I've tried a lot of gluten-free pastas and they're not great. This is really good. It doesn't get mushy. It tastes really good. And I find it at
Oh,
Walmart. And
yeah,
it's like
that's
and
important.
Wegmans. We have Wegmans up here. It's less than $4 a bag. And this is a huge bag of pasta. So I just caramelize the onions. I cook the pasta. I'm always careful. I don't cook it the full time. You know, you want it to be a little al dente, and then you're going to mix it in with the onions, and you know, you might have to reheat it. So, you know, you don't want it to get mushy. That would make a great side dish for Thanksgiving, and it's really simple. Takes a little time for the onions, but they don't take a lot of maintenance. So
You know, I like even just letting us know these, because this is for all the time. You don't have to use it just for Thanksgiving. So
yeah.
because like there was something last year you ladies were on also, and there was some kind of product, one of the products you mentioned, the cheese. And so I tried it, and now I'm able to use that, because there's a lot of
Oh,
products, like,
good.
again, don't taste good. You know, they don't taste good.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
take them back when I try things and I don't like them, because they're not inexpensive. Nothing's inexpensive in the
yeah,
grocery store any longer. And I take it back and get my money back. So yeah.
yeah.
You can make vegan
Right.
charcuterie boards. I agree with Judy. You don't want to do that for Thanksgiving necessarily. It's more like a New Year's Eve kind of, you know, just a little small bites kind of thing. But yeah, there's vegan salami and all kinds of vegan meats that you can use.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask either of these ladies about anything? No? Go ahead, Steph. Thanks.
Um, I just want to know Lori's website or how to
Oh,
get on
yeah.
her page.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give it out at the end of the show, at the end of
Okay,
the,
sounds good.
and then I'll send it in the replay link also tomorrow. Okay, then Lori, why don't you tell us about this macaroni and cheese cook-off a little
Okay.
bit? I'm after the
I
recipe.
I kind of wanted to, you know, I had just moved to Raleigh, North Carolina in April of 2021. And I signed up to be a vendor at a festival. It was the first time I was going to be a vendor. And that was in June. The festival was coming, but I signed up in advance. And the organizer asked me, she says, "Do you have a mac and cheese recipe?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I had noticed on their website that they had a mac and cheese cook-off. And she's like, "Well, we still have room for a couple of chefs." And I'm like, oh, she kind of twisted my arm. So I entered. And I had never entered a cooking contest of any kind before. And I didn't want to make just my regular mac and cheese. It's competitive. All she had to do was say it's competitive, and I was in. I'm like, okay. So what I
Yeah,
do
it's
is I
gutsy.
think about, yeah, I just think about flavors that I like, and I look at recipes. You know what I do? I look at menus of really nice restaurants, like all over the world, for flavor combinations. I'm not looking for mac and cheese recipes. I'm just looking at flavor combinations. What are they doing? And somehow or another, I got on this pineapple and cream cheese. I'm like, it just stuck in my head. I'm like, pineapple and cream cheese. It's like, you do know you're making mac and cheese, right? Anyway, what I did was use the vegan cheeses. The rules were you had to have pasta and cheese. And of course, it had to be vegan. So I used both vegan feta and cream cheese in my sauce. I made a roux like you would for macaroni and cheese. I used vegan butter. And you also had to make a gluten-free version. So I had the regular and the gluten-free. So I made my sauce. I used oat milk. I used the Oatly extra creamy oat milk. It's the best. So anyway, so I put that in there, and I used the feta and the cream cheese. And then I grilled fresh pineapple and red onions and chopped them up. So you've got the sweet and the savory. And I added that to my sauce. I've got my pasta cooked. I used a Checo for my non-gluten. What is that? My regular pasta. And for gluten-free, there's a brand that I really like, Bio Naturi. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I ordered it online. It's really, really good. Anyway, I was like, okay, this is good, but it's got to be a little more. So I decided to make a macadamia nut crust to go on top and then bake it. And then I had to come up with a name. So I called it Tropical Breeze Mac and Cheese, I guess an ode to my Florida native status. And oh my gosh, it is just so good. The topping is macadamia nuts, breadcrumbs, and butter. So I
And the
was shocked,
pineapple was
honestly
in
shocked.
there? The
Yeah,
pineapple was
yeah,
inside
yeah,
it there, not
yeah,
just on top?
yeah. You grill it and it
Wow.
gets caramelized, and you grill the onions, and yeah, it's amazing. It's really
You
good.
are
The flavors,
gutsy.
yeah,
You are
yeah,
gutsy though. That's
yeah,
very gutsy. That says a lot
yeah,
about you.
yeah.
Uh,
It was
yeah,
it
and then
was
you won
amazing.
again this year, right?
I
Oh,
did,
you
I
won.
did.
Well, first of all, how'd you know you won? What happened there?
Oh, well, they do a People's Choice Award, and then they do the Judges Award. And they start with third place, second place, first place. So they start with People's Choice. And so many people had come up to me and told me that they were voting for me, that they liked my mac and cheese. I kind of got my hopes up that maybe I'd get like third place in People's Choice. No, I didn't get third, second, or first in People's Choice. And I was like, okay. They were going on to the Judges Award. I was like quietly packing up because I had been cooking for, like 48 hours, and then, serving, you had to have 400 samples. I mean, it's a big event.
Wow.
I was tired. So I was listening, but, so they did third place, second place. And then when they got to first place, they said, well, our winning chef moved here from Asheville, North Carolina, which is where I lived the year before, but originally from Florida. And I'm just like, no. And I was there by myself. My son wasn't with me. So I handed my phone to the chef next to me and said, could you please videotape this? And you get to go up on stage, you know, and they take your pictures. And I got a nice prize package. I got a $200 gift certificate for Wegmans. And I got all kinds of cooking utensils, beautiful spatulas, cutting boards. And I got a cheese, some kind of cheese thing that they mailed to me, you know, different cheeses, vegan cheeses. It was really nice, but it was just what I needed because I had just started the business and I was not all that confident. And it was just the boost of confidence that I needed to encourage me to keep going. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
it was
gosh,
great.
totally.
I was on cloud 9. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, thank
So
you. Thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine, yeah, I'm picking up and you're telling yourself the real winning is that I did it and, you know,
Mhm.
successfully and all this self-talk that we do,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
nothing like hearing that it was you
Yeah.
like that. What a
Yeah.
trip. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Congrats on
Thank you.
that. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
you won again this year.
Yeah, I did. I did. I guess I could have just entered the same mac and cheese, but that kind of would have been, you know, yeah. So I wanted to come up with something completely different. And I had recently been making chai sugar cookies. And then I made a pie crust out of the chai sugar cookies. I did a banana cream pie with a chai sugar cookie crust, and that was really good. So that was kind of my flavor inspiration. And I'm thinking chai and cream cheese, that would be good. So I ended up making a dessert mac and cheese, a chai spice mac and cheese. My cheese was the cream cheese. I used all the chai spices. I had never in my life used up entire bottles of cinnamon and cloves and ginger because you had to make enough for 400 people samples, you know.
It's
So,
amazing.
and then I did the crust. I did the chai sugar cookie crust. And it won again. So I was really, really thrilled. And you know what? The next one, they just announced it's coming up in February. I'm like, oh gosh,
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should just let somebody else have the spotlight next time.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
oh, you know
My
what I
mouth
won?
is watering. My mouth
Yeah,
is
it's really
watering.
good. And your
Uh,
house smells like a Cinnabon store while it's baking. And I still wasn't sure that it was going to be good until I took it out of the oven and I took a bite and I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is
wow.
good. So
That's awesome. That's
Sounds
following your
amazing.
intuition. That's really
yeah,
following your intuition
yeah.
because that's, I
It's a
think, a little too
process.
gutsy for me. I can't
Mm.
see me. I think I'm trying to think. I think I'd stay with the tested and true version. I don't think I'd be, and I think those, but I've never done a cook-off kind of thing, but they sound like
Mm.
I want to stay with just the, you know, the mac and cheese without all these fancy things,
Mhm.
you know, but wow,
It was
that's
kind of interesting.
amazing.
One of the other chefs wanted to contest my win because he was claiming it wasn't mac and cheese because it was a dessert. And I'm
Oh,
See
like,
that?
I know, come on,
Well,
people. We're
that's
all small business people here, but it had to have pasta and it had to have cheese and it had pasta and it had cheese.
that's
And I
right.
had my gluten-free and my regular and
Yep.
yeah.
But see,
So
you face that whenever you try to go out of the box somewhere. There's always going to be somebody
that's
that's
yeah,
right.
stuck in a box
I
and they're going to think
know,
you're doing
I
this because
know.
but they get
Yeah.
stuck. But that's so wonderful. Any
Thank you.
questions from anybody on any of this mac and cheese conversation at all or anything like that? No, quiet group today, but that's all right. Thanks so much for sharing all that, Lori. That's
Of
uh
course.
I gotta say, I'm not even sure I would want to try a mac and cheese without all this because I like I don't like stuff in my
Mhm.
food. I don't like my food to touch the other food. All this stuff. I've got
Okay.
my food rules. You know,
I don't know, Judy.
this doesn't
I
come
think it's
in.
a trend, dessert pasta. I mean, why not, right?
But
Oh,
no,
well,
that
listen,
sounds so good.
chocolate ravioli came out years ago and you see it
Oh,
in
okay.
Italian restaurants.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
I didn't
think
know
dessert
that.
pasta is a great idea.
No, I think it
Yeah.
is too. I
Yeah.
think it sounds
There's
fantastic,
noodle
actually.
kugel,
Yeah,
I
well, when you
mean,
were talking about
mm,
pineapple, because I'm Jewish, that made me
mhm.
think of kugel, which is and that's my family always had that. growing
Mhm.
up. Whenever you have turkey or chicken, any type of poultry, you have noodle kugel, and
Mm.
it's a sweet dish, but I love it. I just
It's so
love
good.
it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it sits on
Mhm.
the plate beautifully with all the other green beans and
Mhm.
things like that. It's just something
Mhm.
that we grew up with. We didn't have macaroni and cheese, but we had noodle kugel every
Mm.
time. So
Mhm.
it's
It's
nice
so
to have
good.
that.
Mhm.
What nice conversation. What joy to
Mhm.
our heart. Man, that's good to get into this spot, to feel
Yeah,
light conversation is not that easy to come by these days.
that's
Um,
true.
Judy,
Yes.
how do I figure a Thanksgiving servings for, like, if I'm having 12 people? How do I figure the servings?
That's a really great question. And if you're Chef Judy, you're going to figure way too much per person, because I always have a whole bunch of plastic containers so everybody can take stuff home, so you can have that midnight
Yeah.
turkey feast, right? That big sandwich later. With turkey, because of the bones and such, it depends, but it's about 3/4 of a pound per person. And I usually say, when it's something in a casserole dish, it's the extra large casserole dish. So your large casserole dish, one of those is usually enough. But when I used to do for 30, I mean, I had 2 turkeys and a pork roast, or 2 turkeys and a prime rib, and all the sides. But I wanted everybody to get some to take home, and I wanted leftovers for us. So I think that's the key. And you can always ask, wherever you purchase your turkey or your prime rib or anything like that, you can always ask the butcher, and they'll give you a fair assessment of how many people. Because I find if you buy the turkeys, if you look in the back wrapper, it kind of tells you, like, for 8 to 10 people, it's this much per pound. I go like another 5 pounds over that. The thing with turkeys, though, if you're with a group for 12, you probably want to get about a 16-pound turkey. I think that would give you some leftovers too. But it's all, I tell everybody, Google is your friend. Don't wait till the last minute, but you can always Google. I have 12 people coming. How many side dishes do you recommend? And how much turkey, so everybody can have a generous portion and leftover. And Google will give you answers for things like that as well. So that's important to remember. But the bigger the turkey, the harder it is to cook, and sometimes the tougher it is. So you have to, put that in play too. You might want to do 2 smaller turkeys.
Hmm.
Did that answer enough for you? Was that
Yeah,
helpful?
no, I'm
Okay.
just trying to think here. Let me just see here. I'm wanting to know a little bit more about your Thanksgiving, Judy. Like,
Mhm.
I know you're saying that because I know if I was going over Chef Judy's house for Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
I'd be probably expecting all this, what you have to going on. And I'm just wondering how, like, it's got to be a lot of pressure, but which part of the meal do you enjoy the most? Because that's a lot to have that many people over.
Yeah, and it
Uh,
used to be that I'd have to be on TV at 6 in the morning, because we'd have turkey 911. So people would call in with, like, I forgot to defrost my turkey, or I don't know how to make gravy. So I'd be doing that, and I'd already have, like, the tables would be set, all around the pool and everything. I'd have certain things done, but it was a crazy day for sure. But I loved it. I loved every part of it, to be really honest. I loved that we were all gathered together, and we had so much fun. It didn't feel like pressure. It just felt like a love fest. And,
Mm.
we had little
uh,
kids, we had older, neighbors coming, and it was just so much fun. And one of my friends would bring over his dining room table. He'd ratchet up on his top of his Jeep, because we needed more tables. And it was just wonderful. I loved the whole thing. I love feeding people, so I loved it. Now, I kind of retired during COVID, And now our niece, who moved here from Massachusetts like 8 years ago, she lives down the street and she took it over. And that's very hard to do if you're used to being the person that hosts it. It's very hard to let go and let somebody else do it, because it's not going to be your way and you have to just kind of give into it. So that was like a real lesson for me. But the whole point is just gathering with people to enjoy, you know, just being and sharing with people. So once I was like, oh yeah, that's in my mind. And, you know, I even said to my husband, you know, I can always make a mini Thanksgiving dinner the night before. So we have, you know, like our favorites, so we can do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's got to be like I mean, from that level to not at all, it's got to be like a total withdrawal thing. Whoa.
yeah, it's really weird, you know. And I mean, I just can't even begin to tell you how much food we had. And once we would, you know, get the food in the refrigerators and then the desserts. I did this huge tiering dessert buffet, and it was just crazy. And if I can lean on that a little bit, Jen, and talk about desserts, because you know, I mean, pies are synonymous with Thanksgiving, and
the
what
most
the
important
trends
part
are.
of Thanksgiving.
I think so too. What the trends are, they're saying don't eliminate pies. But maybe if you have like 3 or 4 different pies, switch one of those over to a cake and do something. And it's interesting that you said chai, Lori, because there's something like a butter chai pound cake is something really unique to serve. So that's so they're starting to find that cakes are starting to move into your Thanksgiving table as well as the pies. So I thought that was a really interesting trend that people are seeing. And cookies. Believe it or not, you think of Christmas cookies, they're saying good old chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookies or ginger snaps, because they're, you know, they give you that ginger, helps rest your stomach. That's nice to have a little assortment of that as well for people to enjoy.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Totally. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Judy, I have a question for you. Do you have a recipe for molasses cookies? I had a molasses cookie at an event and it was so good. It was like cracked on the top.
Recipe. Isn't it great? With I love anything that
with the
snap or
sugar.
molasses. Yeah, I love
if
it.
you'd share,
I can
that'd
pull
be
out my
great.
recipe with you. Yeah, I'll have to go dig in for it. But I love the moisture of the cookie too.
It was so good.
I'm with you.
My goodness.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And they were
Does
big.
anybody have any questions they'd like to ask these ladies? Go ahead. Yeah. Undo. Mute.
Hi, this is the worst place to be when you're starving.
I'm hungry myself, so I'm with you.
Guys. I'm starving and I'm like, what am I gonna eat? My question is for both of you, for not so much the Thanksgiving meal, but like the appetizers before, something that's not, and I want vegan and I want regular, but things that aren't like, you know, crackers and cheese and pepperoni and vegetables. And is there anything else different?
I have one and you're gonna laugh. Another big trend for 23. I always think of this as a summer picnic food or Easter. Deviled eggs. They're telling everybody if you have to bring an appetizer to Thanksgiving, bring deviled eggs.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
That's real big with my family,
Ever would have thought about it, but I have it right here that it is a really big thing. And if you want to go on the theme of international flavors, just drizzle it instead of paprika with a little Indian spice to give it a unique flavor.
That sounds good.
It does. You know, that's a good idea too, because you know you're waiting and waiting and waiting with this house smelling so good that those will go. Those will fly.
With the keto diet and high protein, I can see where that would be good. You know, they've come out with a vegan egg that looks like a real egg. They come sliced. They're called Wonder Eggs, and it's WUNDER. They have them at Whole Foods, and they come like in this vacuum sealed package, so you can see they're like a boiled egg sliced in half. So, you know, there's like, I don't know, 12 halves in a package, and it's like $12. So I haven't tried them yet. I'm waiting to hit them on sale. But you can even make vegan deviled eggs. So
That's
that's
a
an
great
idea.
idea. Use the vegan
Yeah.
mayo.
So
Yeah.
what would you
Yeah.
replace? How would you make it vegan?
I would use the Wonder Eggs, and I would do I would just do the Wonder Eggs, because otherwise it's kind of hard. And then I would take the yellow that's in it and mash it up with some vegan mayo. And I'm from the South, so you gotta have pickle relish in it. And then just sprinkle a little paprika on top, and that's the way we like them. So yeah,
Oh,
but you could,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, you could go another way and put some soy sauce in there and a little ginger, you know, give it a little Asian flair,
Mm.
whatever
Oh.
your taste buds. Yeah, yeah. And then if you wanted to do another vegan appetizer, something that I've done before is to take an organic cucumber and slice it really thin horizontally, and then take those long thin strips of cucumber and roll up some other veggies in it. You could use pickled veggies, or you could just use like matchstick carrots, not grated, but you know, thin enough that they would hold, and roll it up, and then do like a little wasabi sesame soy sauce dipping sauce. Just put a little toothpick or a little skewer in it and hold it.
That
It's
sounds
good.
great.
It's different, and it's really light, and it's
Light.
colorful. Yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah.
What
Thank
about an
you.
appetizer for the meat and potatoes kind of guy? He's not going to be wanting to do that kind of stuff.
You can make the little meatballs, the vegan meatballs, real easily. You know, put them in a crock pot with some cranberry sauce. Just buy the plant-based. I like Beyond Beef and Impossible beef. They make frozen ground beef, and you just thaw it out and you make it just like you would any meatball recipe that you like. Just substitute it for the ground beef or the ground meat that you'd put in there, and brown them up a little bit, and then throw them in the crock pot with some cranberry sauce and let them simmer. And yeah, I like those too. I'm getting hungry myself, and I'm sitting here inhaling pumpkin pie.
I
You think
know.
you're
I
hungry?
know.
It's like,
And
I'm
if
so
you're
glad I
looking
made
for an
this.
appetizer that isn't vegan, a lot of people are, you know, those your little pigs in a blanket. A lot of people are switching over and using things like linguiça or chorizo instead of the little hot dogs. So that again adds to complements your table of different flavors, and you can make, you know, a different type of
those.
dipping sauce with it, using like a Creole mustard or some hot honey, things like that. That's really, that's become real popular recently.
Yeah. And you know, I make that, you know, we call things that are accidentally vegan, the Pillsbury crescent rolls, the regular recipe, those are vegan. They have palm oil in them, which I try to avoid.
Wow.
But every now and then, like for Halloween, I did mummy dogs because I do them every year. And I like the Morningstar Farm veggie dogs. They're frozen, and you boil them, which is like, God, this is not going to be good. And they are really good. I've tried
Cool.
every vegan hot dog out there, and those are the best. So yeah, you can make it vegan as well. That's a great idea. I love those. Everybody loves those, and love mixing up what goes inside of it. Yeah.
Fun. You guys are creative there. Thanks so much, Kim. A nice question. Stephanie, did you want to ask something? No? Okay. Anybody else have anything they'd like to ask these ladies before we ask them? All right. Well, yeah, ladies, Lori, Judy, do you guys have anything you'd like to say? Final words, thoughts, or message before we give your info?
I just think the most important thing is to don't put yourself in the position where you're going to totally stress yourself out. Don't do too many new recipes, especially I always say, don't change how you cook the bird on Thanksgiving, because it's going to stress you out if it doesn't work. Do that, you know, in March. And if you really like that recipe, then save it for the holiday. But the same thing, do things that you can relax and enjoy. I mean, my thing was I was always playing music, and you know, and be creative. When you know when we'd have our little nephews over, I made a game of of the adult. We had 2 adults sitting in a chair. They had to peel the potato, and the little youngins would have to run down and drop the peeled potato in a cold pot of water. And
Fun.
whichever team won, then they had gifts for the little kids. It got me 20 pounds of potatoes peeled the night before Thanksgiving. And it was really a lot of fun, you know, it was really a lot of fun. So I tell people, don't make it too stressful. Really, you know, do your shopping like on the Tuesday. Don't wait till Wednesday because it's going to be a nightmare. And on the night before, because you're doing so much cooking, have a pizza night. Open up a nice bottle of wine, but get a pizza delivered to your house and just make it really easy on yourself, because you are putting a lot of energy and love into all that you're doing. So do something nice for yourself and it'll work out great.
Great.
And accept any offers to help clean up in the kitchen. Any
Yes.
and all
I
offers.
totally agree with you. Or I even finally got smart enough to hire somebody. And that
Yes,
worked out
that's-
really well. And we, in fact, we
Yeah.
always invited her to join us to sit at the Thanksgiving table and eat with us.
Aw.
And then,
Aw.
yeah, because that was a lot of dishes.
Oh.
It's a great idea. Let people help you clean up.
How
Brilliant.
nice.
Yeah.
How nice. How nice.
I do have a question. I do have a
Sure.
question. You mentioned about getting the turkey out, like already cooked. Any places that you're recommending or know of?
Are you in Sarasota?
I'm in Venice, so
You're
but
in
I can go to
Venice?
Sarasota.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have to pre-order it. And I think
Okay.
you can look on their website or give them a call. If you like brick smoked meats, makes a whole smoked turkey for Thanksgiving. It's on their catering website section, I think, but you can give them a call. And if you
Is that-
like,
Is that in Venice or in Sarasota?
that's Sarasota.
Okay.
That's Sarasota. So in Venice, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what I recently read. I know that Popeyes, and that's up on Route 301 in Sarasota. They do a deep fried turkey. You have to order that ahead of time. I think, I'm not positive, but I think Madison's on South Tamiami, you can order a whole turkey as well.
Hey, Judy, is Geyer's Sausage Kitchen still down there near Madison?
They're still there, but they're not doing the whole turkeys.
They're not.
No.
You know where I ordered from? I lived in Sarasota 30 years. And I would order the gravy and the turkey. I would make my dressing and my sweet potatoes myself, but I'd order from Yoder's.
Oh,
pick
yeah.
up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they won't have the turkey, but they'll have it
Like sliced in a pan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always want the turkey.
I know.
You know, I always had to have one
The
for
whole-
each one and then
bird.
one to,
Yeah,
and of course, Whole
yeah.
Foods does a turkey as well.
that's right.
Yeah.
And Publix.
And
That's
Dear
right.
Dutchman.
Yeah.
If you're going
Yeah.
to Dear Dutchman or Yoder's, I'm going to warn you because I don't live too far from there. The construction is a nightmare, an
Oh, really?
absolute nightmare. So give yourself,
Oh.
it is all cordoned off. It is a nightmare. So give yourself like an extra half an hour so you don't stress out, because there's certain corners that are closed and stuff. It'll just make it easier for you if you do that. But if you
Right.
want to do something really creative and do lots, because you're going to do lots of different side dishes this year, and you want to do something creative, I think like a brick smoked meats turkey would be really good.
Yeah.
And you can use my name. I know the manager.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
make
you.
sure she gets you a good turkey.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Now you're saying names and getting favors.
That's right.
Get me a good turkey, please.
Perks.
Thank you so much, Steph. Questions? Anybody else questions before we let these ladies go? Thank you all for your questions. Thank you for supporting these conversations. Judy and Lori, what a joy to my soul to
Thank
have you. What a
you.
wonderful,
Aw,
wonderful
thank you.
conversation.
Thank you for having us again.
Oh, lightened up our lives for a little bit here. It felt good to have conversation like this about food.
Somebody has
Makes me feel happy too.
Diane,
Thank you.
Diane's waving. Do you have a question?
I think she's just waving
Oh,
goodbye.
just waving
She's
goodbye.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead, Diane.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Is it true what you said before? If we all came and watched this presentation, you were having Thanksgiving dinner? I just want to know what time. What
I drive
time?
down to Florida for that.
That's a really
I might
good
even be a
try.
vegan.
I will be at my niece's house bringing my roasted spiced butternut squash
Oh,
and a harvest salad. So my house will not, only Norman, my dog, will be here. I'm sorry.
I like
Next
dogs.
time. Next time. Next time. Let's see here. So Chef Judy's website is mycookingmagazine.com. Can also connect with her on Facebook. Lori's website is veganfriendlycooking.com. Can also reach out to her on Facebook. They post a lot of things. They have I know that Lori, I haven't been to Judy's website in a while. Sorry about that. I was on Lori's not too long ago. And I know she has a sign up list for emails to send out. But we'll send this information out and more tomorrow in the follow-up email, along with the replay link. Please visit zenfulconversations.com. Sign up for more of these conversations. Lori, Judy, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you,
holidays,
Zenful.
everyone.
Yes. Stay safe,
Yeah.
stay well. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Mhm.